going on, everybody? Lawson Turner back with another episode of the Cover 2 podcast. As always, we got some NBA action to talk about from last night's games. So let's get straight into it. The first game, the Timberwolves, they go up 2-0 on the Phoenix Suns in their best of 7 series heading back to Phoenix. The Suns are going to try and look to potentially even the series up at 2 games apiece going back to Minnesota. But let's get straight into my thoughts and opinions on the game. I thought the first half the Suns, it was exactly what the Suns were looking for. They were they were playing better offensively than they did in game 1. Was it as good as they played in the regular season against the Timberwolves? No. But they were generating good chances, and the biggest thing for me in the first half was Karl-Anthony Towns barely played in the first half, didn't even play in the second quarter because he picked up 3 fouls in the first half. And that's the biggest thing when you have key players, especially stars to your team, pick up 2 fouls in the first quarter. Chris Finch decided to keep Cat in, and he picked up his third foul, which led to him not playing even a second in the second quarter. Now, were they all deserving fouls? Give or take, it's up to the discretion of the officials. But let's dive into the box score. We saw Nurkic played a lot better, and he played more of up to my expectations that I had of him going into this series. He's their only true big. Drew Eubanks he's a nice backup forward. Not even a forward, like he's a four that they're gonna have to masquerade him into being their backup center, cause you can't play Bobo in this series. You can limit Drew Eubanks' minutes. Now he did have a good game in game 2, 17 minutes off the bench and gave the Suns 8 points, but Nurkic is going to be key because he did what I was expecting him to do. He played to his size, being their only true big. He had 10 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 assists in that like playmaker-ish role that I think that could be beneficial for the Phoenix Suns. Kevin Durant didn't have as good of a game as he had in game 1, which he was spectacular in game 1, so it's going to be hard to replicate him averaging, 31 for the entire season against the number 1 defense in all of basketball. 18 points. We expect Durant. It's playoff time. Mid to high 20s. He wasn't very efficient, shooting 6 of 15 from the floor and 0 for 2 from 3. Did make 6 of his 7 free throws. This is Devin Booker's second game. I mean, 20 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. He did have 2 steals in 41 minutes. I think that we need more. More of. Now, I understand it's a series. It's not a best of 2. It's a first to 4. And I think the Suns still have. There are some things that they can do. They just don't. They don't have a true point guard, and they don't have the size to match up with this team. This team being the Minnesota Timberwolves, which let's transition to deep diving into their box score. Now, box scores tell a different story than watching the game. Like, if you looked, Rudy Gobert, once again, he had a good game. Now, he didn't have double-digit rebounds. He had 18 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and a block. We know what he is defensively. He is protect the rim, get in passing lanes, use your length. And that's what he does. Mike Conley had a really good bounce back game from his poor shooting performance in game 1. In 31 minutes, he had 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and also pitched in with 2 steals and made 3 out of his 6 3-point shots. Anthony Edwards was subpar by his standards and everything that he's shown us through the regular season and in game 1. I mean, he shot the ball 3 of 12, but 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, and a block. It's if you're a superstar, what else can you do if your shot's not falling that night? And he proved that, I can do a little bit of everything else that you need me to do. Because they didn't need a 33-point performance by Ant-Man. They needed everybody else to, step up and arise, and they did. And Jaden McDaniels, I'm going to give the spotlight on you. You had an outstanding game, not just on the defensive end, which you're a defensive menace on Booker, Durant. You're making it really tough on these guys. But on the offensive end, 25 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. That's outstanding for a player. He, for some players, just shine in their role, and he just shines in this role. You need him to guard the best or second best offensive option on the opposing team. I can do that. And you need me to hit timely corner threes, get into the lane, hit floaters, and score in other traditional ways that's not just 3 and D. I can do that. I can do that. It was an outstanding performance to see these. Oh my goodness! Excuse me. It was great seeing these players shine in their individual roles, stepping up when Ant-Man took a slight step back. Now let's transition into the second game. This game was on NBA TV, and I'm talking about the Indiana Pacers bouncing back in a. I'm not gonna. I was about to say in a shocking fashion. I'm not shocked that they won the game. I'm shocked how they won the game. They won 25 to 108, 17 point, 17-point margin of victory. For the Bucks, can anyone guard Pascal Siakam? Like, can anybody do that? Can Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez? Now, I'm not asking for Brook to step out away from the rim because we know what Brook's strength is protecting the rim and hitting, oh my goodness, pardon me, and hitting threes. But the thing is, you need somebody. Excuse me while eyes are watering. The biggest thing for me, can someone guard Pascal Siakam? Like, this is his second monster game of this series. 37, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. Like, can anyone guard him? It it amazes me when someone's just on fire. Oh my goodness, excuse me. And no one's stepping up to the challenge. Like, the Pacers have Tyrese Halliburton, who's a good point guard, but he's refusing to shoot the ball. Well, not refusing because in game two he took 10 shots. In the first game he was a no-show. He had 12 points, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 12 assists this game, which is, he's one of the last, in my opinion, one of the very last or newer point guards where it's they want to. Well, I worded that completely wrong, butchered it. He's one of the last truer point guards, and it's interesting to say last because he is so young. But he wants to get the ball in transition and dish. He wants to dish to his teammates. He wants to see his teammates flourish more than he wants to see himself light it up from three, which he hasn't been the same since he returned from his injury earlier in the season, but he's starting to pick it up, and I think game 3 in Indiana, I think that we could see him, let it fly. Or it could be a high flying because this team plays very fast. This team plays very fast, and the Bucks they're a older, slower team without Giannis, and even with Giannis, they're still a slower paced team. But Giannis gives them that defensive stopper that if Bobby Portis is going for 35, then the Bucks not essentially having a chance because we saw I said Bobby Portis, Pascal Siakam. I apologize. We saw Pascal Siakam dominate in game 1, and we just saw him dominate in game 2. Miles Turner also had a good game, scoring 22 points, also chipped in 7 rebounds and 6 assists. Which seeing Miles Turner have 6 assists is awesome because we love when centers who aren't your Jokic mold, who can dominate the ball, assist, and he also blocked 3 shots, which was outstanding. Let's go to the Milwaukee Bucks side of it. Can someone tell Damian Lillard that it's a 4-quarter game? Because over the first two games of this series, he's been outstanding in the first half. We saw him in the first half of game one score 35 and 0 in the second half. Now, it didn't matter because they had everything rolling. But in this game, in the first half, you score 26. Great. And then in the third quarter, you play 10 minutes, scored 8 points. There's your 34. And then went scoreless in 6 minutes of the fourth, and the game was essentially over. Didn't even take a three. I don't know what to make of this Bucks team with no, you know, with no Giannis there. It's subpar team. So is is this series going to be a does Giannis return? Because I thought if the Bucks would have won last night, they say, okay, Giannis, take take the first round off, take the whole first round off, because we're up 2-0. We should not gag this away. But now you've given this young team life. You've given this young team life who love to get out and run and play fast and play their style of basketball. They don't have a defense. Dame, no one can stick you. You're gonna feast this series. But that Dame time thing, that Dame time celly you do, we need it for 4 quarters. Not just the first half, not just in the third. We need it for 4 quarters. It's tough. It's tough for the Milwaukee Bucks because when Giannis got hurt with the calf, it's kind of a hold your breath. Now let's transition into the last game in the nightcap of TNT's doubleheader. The Dallas Mavericks defeated the Los Angeles Clippers to tie the series at 1-1 going back to Dallas behind a Luka. Just I'm not even gonna say masterclass. Just this is what Luka does in the playoffs against the Clippers. He scored 32 last night. He scored. Let me pull it up because 33 in game one, 33 in game one, 32 in game two, and his career playoff averages against the Clippers scoring went down. Like that's crazy. It's there are certain times in sports where there's just nothing you can do. And to me, for the Clippers, there's just nothing they can't stick them. 32, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, a steal, and a block, and hit step back dagger over James Harden and was talking shit to the crowd. Which when Luka plays pissed, and he's got a little diva in him. There's nothing wrong with it. I love it when these superstars have that flair of that. Yeah, come guard it. Or when it just takes one person in the crowd to say something, and then we saw Luka after he hit that step back essential dagger over James Harden turn and scream at the crowd because it's a I want this moment as much as this moment means to me, it means more that I'm taking it away from you, and that's what he's doing. He's unstoppable is not the right word because this is what he does against the Clippers. Now to go to the Clippers side, this is Kawhi's first game back. I thought he was rusty as hell, which I assumed he played 34 minutes in. Could I see as longer the series go, his minutes ramp up a little bit more, but still be kind of cautious? Yeah, but he was 7 of 17, 0 for 5 from three, 1 for 2 from the free throw line. He was inefficient. He chipped in 15 points, but he had 4 steals on a block, which that's what Kawhi does on the defensive end. He's a defensive stopper. James Harden came back down to earth a little bit. 22 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 6 for 14 from the floor, 2 for 10 from three. Um, this is what this is kind of what James Harden is. This is what you're gonna get from him at this stage of his career. But he's been that inefficient playoff performer most of his career. He's still an outstanding playmaker and facilitator. That will probably never leave his game. His ability to see the court and get the ball in the right spots. That's never gonna change. Zubats also didn't, drop a damn near 20 and 20 game. In this game, 13 he had 13 points, 12 rebounds, and in game 1 he had 20 points and 15 rebounds, which this series better be 2-2 coming back to LA in game 5. I didn't even touch on Paul George. Paul George had 22 points, 4 assists, 7 of 14, and 2 for 5 from 3, including the buzzer beater that didn't count. Well, it counted, but for the it it counted for points and for the final score, but when it came to you know fixing, not fixing, when it came to the final result, it didn't matter. The Mavs have already sealed it with Kyrie's 2 clutch free throws at the end of the game. My thing for me, when the Mavs were down 6 in the fourth quarter, and with about 9:32 to go, they go on a 14-0 run from the 9:32 mark to the 5:18 mark. 14-0. Down 6, up 8, just like that. And it showed to me that these Clippers can play, unless they're going to play how they played in game 1, in which everyone's hitting everything. This series is going to go how I thought it was. The series is probably going to go 6. Dallas will pull it out, and then Dallas will probably play OKC. This series it's so fun because this is one of the genuine rivalries we have in the NBA, and we don't get many. But this is the third time they've matched each other in the playoffs in the last 5 years, and it's exciting. It's flatly exciting. And who doesn't enjoy watching Luka Doncic play? That's all I have for you guys. Thank you everyone for watching. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions down below. Can the Pacers pull it out against the Bucks? Can the Clippers steal back home court in Game 3 or 4? And the question for the Suns Timberwolves: can the Suns make the series comp? Can they simply just make it competitive? Thank you guys for watching. I'm Lawson Turner for the Cover 2 podcast, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.